So, I don't know why it deleted that, but here I start again with Surah 2, Al Baqarah, the cow, the Maulana Muhammad Ali translation, with ayat 187. It is made lawful for you to go into your wives on the night of the fast, and they are an apparel for you, and you are an apparel for them. Allah knows that you acted unjustly to yourselves, so He turned to you in mercy and removed from you. So now be in contact with them, and seek what Allah has ordained for you, and eat and drink until the whiteness of the day becomes distinct from the blackness of the night at dawn. Then complete the fast till nightfall, and touch them not while you keep to the masajid. These are the limits of Allah, so go not near them. Thus does Allah make clear His messages for mankind, that they may keep their duty. Now, a musalla, or a masjid, is only the place of the prostration, the place of prayer, and keeping to the rules of the masjid, except for leaving for one's needs, is the retreat. And your retreat can be valid if you leave for your needs, but whether it's for a night or whether it's for more, if you're leaving to go to the bathroom, you are to get food or change or something, you're keeping the rules of the masjid, except of course you don't get dressed in a masjid ever. So once those are done, you go, and the sexual relations with the spouses, that's not part of it. It's not saying that those things aren't forbidden, because clearly during the nights of the fast, when you're allowed to eat and drink, the sexual relationships are also allowed, which aren't part of the fasting. Unswallow not up your property among yourselves by false means, not seeking to gain access thereby to the judges, so that ye may swallow up a part of the property of mankind wrongfully, while you know. They ask thee concerning the new moons, say they are appointed for mankind and for pilgrimage. It is not righteousness that you enter the houses by their backs, but it is righteousness who keeps his duty and goes into the houses by their doors, and keep your duty to Allah that you may be successful. And Ahilat is not the new moon, it's the sighting of the crescent. It's something that has to be seen. So whether that happens Sunday night of May 5th, or whether that happens Monday night of May 6th, and when that happens in June or any other month, we'll have to wait and see. Their appointed times for pilgrims is not for the righteous that each enter houses by their back, but it's righteousness who keeps this duty and goes in the houses by their doors, and keep your duty to Allah that you may be successful. And fight in the way of Allah against those who fight against you, but be not aggressive. Surely Allah loves not the aggressors. And the word here in the second incident is al-mu'atadin. Al, the character of the edge. So the character traits of extremism. And yeah, we can go into many examples of how Islam condemns extremism, but and kill them wherever you find them, and drive them out from wherever they drove you out, and persecution is worse than slaughter, and fight not with them at the sacred mosque, Masjid al-Haram, until they fight with you in it. So if they fight you, slay them, such is the recompense of the disbelievers. And the masjid, a masjid is just the place of worship, if I have not mentioned that. Oh wait, I just did, didn't I? But obviously fighting has to protect the places of worship, doesn't it? But if they desist, then surely Allah is forgiving, merciful, and fight them until there is no persecution, and religion is only for Allah, and the system of judgment is Allah's. But if they desist, then there should be no hostility against the oppressors. The sacred month for the sacred month, and retaliation sacred things. Whoever then acts aggressively against you, inflict injury on him according to the injury he has afflicted on you, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is with those who keep their duty. See, it's wars against the wrongdoers. If their families are non-combatants, you leave their families alone. That's not part of it. Oh, look at what they did to my family, so I'm doing something to their family. No, that's not what people are saying. Sorry about Osama bin Laden, was clearly wrong there, and many other people that have tried to play games with that passage aren't taking it literally. And spend in the way of Allah, and cast not yourself to perdition with your own hands, and do good. Surely Allah loves the doers of good, and accomplish the pilgrimage and the visit for Allah. But if you are prevented, whatever offering is easy to obtain, and shave not your heads until the offering reaches its destination. Then whoever among you is sick, or has an ailment of the head, he may effect a compensation by fasting or alms, or sacrificing. And when you are secure, whoever profits by combining the visit with the pilgrimage, whatever offering is easy to obtain. But he who cannot find should fast 3 days during the pilgrimage, and for 7 days when you return. These are 10 days complete. This is for him whose family is not present in the sacred mosque, Masjid al-Haram. And keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is severe in requiting. The months of pilgrimage are well known, so whoever determines to perform the pilgrimage, therein shall be no immodest speech, nor abusing, nor altercation in the pilgrimage, and whatever good you do, Allah knows it, and make provision for yourselves, the best provision being to keep one's duty, and keep your duty to me, O man of understanding. And remember, back in the day, it would take the 11th month to get there, and the first month to get back home. So you needed a few months of security. And it is no sin for you that you seek the bounty of your Lord. So when you press on from Arafat, himself becoming acquainted with the thing, remember Allah near the holy monument, and remember him as he has guided you, though before that you were certainly of the erring ones. Then hasten on from where the people hasten on, and ask forgiveness of Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. And you stand on Mount Arafat on the 9th day, in the afternoon there, of the 12th month. And hasten on from where the people hasten on, and ask forgiveness of Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. And when you have performed your devotions, laud Allah as you lauded your fathers, rather more haughty lauding. But there are some people who say, "O our Lord, give us in the world," and for such there is no portion in the hereafter. And there are some among them who say, "Our Lord, grant us good in this world, and good in the hereafter, and save us from the chastisement of the fire." For those there is a portion, on account of what they have earned, and Allah is swift in reckoning. And remember Allah during the appointed days. Then whoever hastens off in 2 days, it is no sin for him, and whoever stays behind, it is no sin for him. For one who keeps his duty, and keeps your duty to Allah, and know that you will be gathered together to him, and of mankind is he whose speech about the life of this world pleases thee, and he calls the law to witness as to that which is in his heart, and yet he is the most violent of adversaries, and when he holds authority he makes effort in the land to cause mischief in it, and destroy tilth and offspring, and Allah loves not the mischief-making, and Allah loves not mischief. And when it is said to him, be careful of thy duty to Allah, pride carries him off to sin, so hell is sufficient for him, and certainly evil is the resting place, and of mankind is he who sells himself to seek the pleasure of Allah, and Allah is compassionate to the servants. O you who believe, enter into complete peace, and follow not the footsteps of the devil. Surely he is your open enemy, but if you slip after clear arguments have come to you, then know that Allah is mighty wise. Then wait for naught that Allah should come to them, and in the shadows of the clouds with the angels, and the matter has been decided, and to Allah are all matters returned. Acts of the children of Israel, how many a clear sign we gave them, and whoever changes the favor of Allah after it has come to him, then surely Allah is severe in requiting. The life of this world is made to seem fair to those who disbelieve, and they mock those who believe, and those who keep their duty will be above them on the day of resurrection, and Allah gives to whom he pleases without measure. Mankind is a single nation, so Allah raised prophets as bearers of good news and as warners, and he reviewed with them the book with truth, that it might judge between people concerning that in which they differed, and none but the very people who were given it differed about it after clear arguments had come to them, envying one another. So Allah has guided by his lead, and so Allah has guided by his will those who believe to the truth about which they differed, and Allah guides whom he pleases to the right path. Or do you think that you will enter the garden while there has not yet befallen you the like of what befell you, and those who have passed away before you? Distress and affliction befell them, and they were shaken violently, so that the messenger and those who believed with him said, when will the help of Allah come? Now surely the help of Allah is nigh. And they ask thee as to what they should spend. Say, whatever wealth you spend, it is for the parents, and the kin, and the near of kin, and the orphans, and the needy, and the wayfarer, and whatever good you do, Allah surely is knower of it. Fighting is enjoined on you, though it is disliked by you, and it may be that you dislike a thing while it is good for you, and it may be you love a thing while it is evil for you, and Allah knows well you know. And they ask thee about fighting in the sacred month. Say, fighting is a grave offense, and hindering from Allah's way, and denying him, and the sacred mosque, al-Masjid al-Haram, and turning its people out of it, are still graver with Allah, and persecution is graver than slaughter, and they will not cease fighting you until they turn you back from your religion if they can, and whoever of you turns back from his religion, then he dies while an unbeliever. And these it is whose works go for nothing in this world and the hereafter, and they are the companions of the fire, therein they will abide. And so, not only is fighting only against those who are doing the harsh persecution and the the aggression. Obviously, it's all self-defense. But during the first month, the 7th month, the 11th month, and the 12th month, one's supposed to try to, one establishes an automatic peace. And if it's violated, I guess the war continues. But an automatic truce. And we'll find out about the automatic truce mentioned in Surah 9, which is misunderstood. Oh, it's back to war after these months, when it's only a truce. Those who believed and who fled and strove hard in Allah's way, these surely hope for the mercy of Allah, and Allah is forgiving, merciful, and they ask thee about intoxicants and games of chance, saying both of them is a great sin and advantage for mankind, and their sin is greater than their advantage, and they ask thee as to what they should spend. Say, what can you spare? And thus does Allah make clear to you the messages that you may ponder. And this is the first verse dealing with intoxicants that we have in order here. Some say Surah 16 came first in its learning, which was basically, out of plants you have intoxication and you have a good provision. So there's a difference. And in here we're having the, games of chance and drugs certainly have benefits with them, but the sin of intoxicant use that's not needed for survival is greater. Of course, there are worse sins than drugs, which is why it's something that if it stays at home, the Islamic State doesn't spy on it, and they don't punish it, except for those who want to atone for their sins. On this world and the hereafter, Islamic State is an actual Islamic State, not what they say on the news, not some Muslim majority, an actual Islamic State. On this world and the hereafter, and they ask thee concerning the orphans, to set right their affairs is good, and if you mix with them, they are your brethren, and Allah knows him who makes mischief from him who sets right, and if Allah pleased, he would have made matters difficult for you. Surely Allah is mighty, wise. And marry not the idolatresses until they believe, and certainly a believing maid is better than an idolatress, even though she please you, nor give in marriage to the idolaters until they believe, and certainly a believing slave is better than an idolater, even though he please you. These invite to the fire, and Allah invites to the garden, and to forgiveness by his will, and he makes clear his messages to mankind, that they may be mindful. And remember, Islam has no vision of forcing marriage on the slave. And we find out that the misassociators among the people of the book, if they have a good reputation and stuff, the exception is granted to marry the women among them. But the general rule is just as the Bible, don't marry the goyim, which is not just someone outside your tribe. It's, And they ask thee about menstruation, say it is harmful, so keep aloof from women during menstrual discharge, and go not near them until they are clean, but when they have cleansed themselves, go into them as Allah has commanded you. Surely Allah loves those who turn much, and he loves those who purify themselves. Your wives are a tilth for you, so go into your tilth when you like, and send beforehand for yourselves, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that you will meet him, and give good news to the believers, and make not Allah by your oaths an hindrance to your good doing, and keeping your duty, and making peace between mankind, and Allah is hearing, knowing. Allah will not call you to account for what is vain in your oaths, but he will call to account for what your hearts have earned, and Allah is forgiving, forbearing, and who swear that they will not go into their wives should wait 4 months, and then if they go back, then Allah is surely forgiving, merciful. So the limit is 4 months, and that may not be so clear in that translation, but yeah, you can't swear off your spouse for any more than 4 months. Then if they resolve on a divorce, Allah is surely hearing, knowing, and the divorced women should keep themselves in waiting for 3 courses, it is not lawful for them to conceal that which Allah has created in their wombs, if they believe in Allah on the last day, and their husbands have a better right to take them back in the meanwhile if they wish for reconciliation, and women have rights similar to those against them in a just manner, and men are a degree above them, and Allah is mighty wise. Now, some people might twist the words and say that men and women aren't equal. Men have a certain position over women in certain matters, and that is what is being said there, that a man wants a divorce if he asks for the woman back, and she wants to come back, but the man is obvious. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but some people try to, once there's a problem, it's like, oh, don't go back. It's like some people try to interfere with a couple getting back together, and that's just not right. Divorce may be twice, then keep them in good fellowship, or let them go with kindness, and it is not lawful for you to take any part of what you have given them, unless both fear that they cannot keep within the limits of Allah, and then if you fear that they cannot keep within the limits of Allah, there is no blame on them for what she gives up to become free thereby. There are the limits of Allah, so exceed them not, and whoever exceeds the limits of Allah, these are the wrongdoers. And of course, among the limits of Allah is that you cannot ask your spouse, that it's not, you have no right to ask your spouse of what is not lawful, of what is wrong. And it's also, not fair. While they can disobey, a wife is free to disobey a husband in terms of what's not fair, and we see that elsewhere in the Quran. Like, you can't expect her to follow your particular sect of the religion, and clean up after every guest you decide to bring. Now, if she wants to do stuff like that, that's fine, but her duty is only towards you and your children and such. So if he divorces her, she shall not be lawful to him afterwards, until she marries another husband, or if he divorces her, there is no blame on them both, if they return to each other, if they think that they can keep within the limits of Allah, and these are the limits of Allah which he makes clear for people who know. And when you divorce women, and they reach their prescribed time, then retain them in kindness, or set them free with kindness, and retain them not for injury, so that you exceed the limits, and whoever does this, he indeed wrongs his own soul, and take not Allah's messages for mockery, and remember Allah's favor to you, and that which he has revealed to you of the book, and the wisdom admonishing you thereby, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is the knower of all things. And when you divorce women, and they end their term, prevent them not from marrying their husbands if they agree among themselves in a lawful manner. With this is admonished he among you who believes in Allah on the last day. This is more profitable for you and purer, and Allah knows while you know not. And mothers shall suckle their children for 2 whole years, for him who desires to complete the time of suckling. And their maintenance and their clothing must be borne by the father according to usage. No soul shall be burdened beyond its capacity, neither shall a mother be made to suffer harm on account of her child, nor a father on account of his child, and a similar duty on the heir. But if both desire weaning by mutual consent and counsel, there is no blame on them. And if you wish to engage a wet nurse for your children, there is no blame on you, so long as you pay what you promised according to usage, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is seer of what you do. And obviously that would extend somewhat to babysitters too. But see, you don't have to. Children don't have to be given milk for the first couple years. But we see the duty of the father to provide as best he can for the children and for the the wife, the woman during even with divorce, during her pregnancy, during her during the weaning period. So we'll tie this and other duties of financial obligation to later passages. And those of you who die leaving wives behind, such women should keep themselves in waiting 4 months and 10 days, and when they reach their term there is no blame on you for what they do for themselves in a lawful manner, and Allah is aware of what you do, and there is no blame on you respecting that which you speak indirectly in the asking of women in marriage or keep concealed within your minds. Allah knows that you will have them in your minds, but give them not a promise in secret unless you speak in a lawful manner, and confirm not the marriage tie until the prescribed period reaches its end, and know that Allah knows what is in your minds, so beware of Him, and know that Allah is forgiving, forbearing. Obviously, it would be said that that you can get, well, not obviously, but some people may not realize that you can get engaged with somebody who is not yet available. But if they're, if in the middle of a divorce that has not reached its final term, it's best to keep it silent. There is no blame on you if you divorce women while yet you have not touched them, nor appointed for them a portion, and provide for them, the wealthy according to his means, and the strained according to his means, a provision according to usage, a duty on the doers of good. And if you divorce them before you have touched them, and you have appointed for them a portion, half of what you have appointed, unless they forego, or he forgoes in whose hand is the marriage tie, and it is nearer to dutifulness, and that you forego, nor neglect the giving free gifts between you. Surely Allah is seer of what you do. And obviously the person, because the woman makes the decision of what she'll accept. It's not, oh, you'll take what I get and don't marry anyways. No. Aside from the consent issues, the free gift is, it could be just a steel ring or something. It could be a couple handfuls of food. It could be, a great amount of wealth. Whatever the thing is, it's like, it's not that you marry a woman and you decide a week later that you don't want to be married. It's, there's protection being guarded against there. It's easier for a man to turn around and get married. To this day, it still is. Guard the prayers and the most excellent prayer, and stand up truly obedient to Allah. The middle prayer. The middle prayer is the internal side of the prayer. You can say it is the dawn prayer. You can say it is the middle of the day prayer, or the middle of the afternoon prayer. The inner side of the ritual prayer is probably the most common interpretation. But who knows, there could be something I'm not thinking of to say here. But if you are in danger on foot or on horseback, and when you are secure, and on your ride. Rukba, yeah. Any good ride. And when you are secure, remember Allah as He has taught you, and when you knew not. And those of you who die and leave wives behind should make a bequest in favor of their wives' maintenance for a year without turning out, and then if they themselves go away, there is no blame on you for what they do of lawful deeds concerning themselves, and Allah is mighty wise. And for the divorced women, provision in kindness, and this is incumbent on those who have regard for duty, Allah thus makes clear to you his messages that you may understand. Hast thou not considered those who went forth from their homes, and they were thousands, for fear of death? Then Allah said to them, Die. Then he gave them life. Surely Allah is gracious to people, but most people are not grateful, and fight in the way of Allah, and know that Allah is hearing, knowing. And as we said before, the fi sabilillah is different than just Bismillah. It's the terms. And if you look at the terms of fighting, almost all fighting is just put to an end. It's not a war of destruction against plants and animals and non-combatants and those who just differ. It's not to extend borders. It's not to capture slaves. It's not to get resources. It's not, there's more things. And know that Allah is here and knowing. Who is it that will offer to Allah a goodly gift? So he multiplies it to him manifold, and Allah receives and amplifies, and to him you shall be returned. Hast thou not thought of the leaders of the children of Israel after Moses, when they said to a prophet of theirs, Raise up for us a king that we may fight in the way of Allah? He said, May it not be that you will not fight if fighting is ordained for you. And they said, And what reason have we that we should not fight in Allah's way? And we have indeed been deprived of our homes and of our children, but when fighting was ordained for them, they turned back except a few of them, and Allah is knower of the wrongdoers. And their prophet said to them, Surely Allah has raised Saul to be a king over you. They said, How can he have a kingdom over us, while we have a greater right to kingdom than he, and he has not been granted abundance of wealth? He said, Surely Allah has chosen him above you, and has increased him abundantly in knowledge and physique, and Allah grants his kingdom to whom he pleases, and Allah is ample giving, knowing. And their prophet said to them, Surely the sign of his kingdom is that he... And their prophet said to them, Surely the sign of his kingdom is that there shall come to you the heart in which there is tranquility from your Lord, and the best of what the followers of Moses and the followers of Aaron left behind, the angels bearing it. Surely there is a sign in this for you, if ye are believers. If you are believers.